So we're expecting a consultation this year for approved document Q, which is security in dwellings. A couple of big changes in the scope that we're expecting. Firstly, that it will no longer just apply to new build dwellings, it will apply to the domestic replacement market as well. So that's all windows and doors pretty much that are installed. The second change that we are expecting is an increase in scope to the use of laminated glass. So currently laminated glass is only used in doors, things attached to doors, and in very limited circumstances. It also is used in windows if you don't have locking handles. The proposed change is that all ground floors, so all easily accessible windows and doors will need laminate glass, and that laminate glass will need to be to P1A standard. So we don't have a set date for the consultation, but what we do know is that once the consultation comes, it's expected this year, probably around summertime, maybe a little before, but that's not a fixed date, that's just kind of what we're expecting. But once the consultation comes, we'll have at least 6 weeks to respond to that consultation, and that's where we need to get all the information from members and the industry back to government, at which point they will have a period of time where they look over those responses, issue their response to the consultation, and then we would expect publication of the documents, which may be 6-9 months after the consultation closes, and then that normally sets off a 12-month period, which is known as a laying date, and then from that end of that 12-month period we'll probably have a 2-year transition period, at which point some product will need to comply quite early on, but there will be a transition period to upgrade scopes, get materials in place and get the supply chain ready. So the practical changes that the supply chain is going to need to make for this is a significant ramp up in the production of laminated glass. And that's not just the flat glass, obviously it's the sealed units that they're turned into as well. So there's a whole piece of work that we're doing around the supply of the cutting tables, the laminate materials themselves. But for fabricators there's more than that. There's looking at the hardware options. Very often high security windows and doors for Part Q, they use different hardware options. So different friction stays sometimes, certainly different locks and different door cylinders and the like. So some changes in the supply chain for fabricators there. They're also going to have to look at testing products if they haven't already, or using an approved set of materials from one of the system houses. So of course, whenever you're enhancing product, there is very often a cost implication. So the laminate glass we know is going to be more expensive than normal flat glass that's being used. You're going from a 4mm in most cases anneal glass to a 6.8mm laminate. There is a cost implication to that. Also the hardware set that you're using, it's upgraded, it's more enhanced, it's better than what you might be using otherwise. So there's a cost implication of that as well. So I think our industry, we've swallowed so many material price increases and not passed them on. I do think there is going to be an impact that goes to the consumer of this cost increase. We just can't as an industry swallow it anymore. We need to pass some of these increases on. So this consultation in particular is going to have a huge impact across our whole supply chain. So we're talking flat glass manufacturers, sealed unit manufacturers, hardware manufacturers and fabricators and installers. It'll touch everybody. And what we need is such a broad range of responses from all of that supply chain so that we can inform government of all of the detail to the response so that they can make an informed decision when they're deciding which parts of that consultation come in. So many times in our industry we have legislation that comes in that directly affects us and not for the positive, and we don't do it, and the responses aren't there. You know, after the fact, the GGF get contacted, why has this happened, why has that happened? You know, don't be that person that wants to know why something's happened, be the person that makes it happen and makes the change.